Welcome to the Better Client Project.
I am Porsh, Chief Creative at Brand Manila.
I'm Patricia, Brand Strategist at Brand Manila.
And
We are sisters.
The Better Client Project is a podcast where we discuss branding, team culture, creativity, and changing mindsets. It's all about communication and empathy.
Because we want to help you become better clients and get better clients. See both perspectives because building successful relationships go both ways.
Hi, welcome to the very first episode of the Better Client Project. We're your hosts. I'm Porsh.
And I'm Pat.
So today, what are we going to talk about, Pat?
We're going to talk about dealing with distractions and how working from home is not really all rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah.
So, what distractions do you face?
So, since we have all the time right now and we don't go out, we don't get stuck in traffic anymore, having all that time in your hands makes you a bit unfocused. And you get, especially when we're in this COVID period, we we have gone to a different mindset of dealing with our day to day, especially when you're you have more time looking at social media posts and Netflix, of
Binge
course,
watching.
binge watching new episodes of series that we always watch.
So that's your distraction, social media and binge watching.
Binge watching, yes. How about you, Pat?
For me, my main distractions would be errands. Working from home, we don't have that boundary of your work life and your personal life. The boundary gets blurred. And so for me, it's hard to be in my zone, in my work zone, and in the middle of my work zone, I have to run this bank errand because the bank closes at this time, and I have to go to the grocery to stock up. And because of the quarantine, we have limited time window to work all that things and to work around it. So for me, my main distraction would be errands.
Yeah, especially right now. And it's eating up your time when you should be working.
Yes. So how does this distractions affect your work?
For me, it's when I look at social media and I'm feeling all these emotions. I feel frustrated, I feel mad, I feel in a reactive state instead of like taking control of my my thoughts and getting into that work zone that's in the zone thinking of like when we start working like in an office and you have that schedule in place of what time,
Structure.
yeah, the structure, the time you get in at work and you punch in, and then that's the time you start.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like the blurred lines between personal and work life. So I feel like such in a reactive state that I get lost in
What your day should look like.
exactly what my day should look like and how to be productive. And so, how about you, Pat?
How does this distractions affect me?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's like what I said earlier. I'm in this zone and I get distracted because I have to run this errand. And for that, the task gets delayed because, you know, I don't I don't feel like working anymore because I was interrupted in my zone. And because of delayed task, the project also gets delayed and affecting other team members.
Yeah.
Because we
We,
we're working as a team, and so if one is distracted, it affects the whole.
the whole
I think
team.
so. That's for me.
I think it's because of our lives being interrupted.
Yes, exactly.
So this is not the ordinary life we're used to, and we're just dealing with the new the new life
That's becoming.
that's becoming
So
that
when
it's
we go through
becoming.
our day, and these distractions are affecting the way we work, it's because I think emotions gets involved. Like what you said, you're in a reactive state.
Yeah.
And so
And
you will sorry, so when you're in a reactive state, I'd like to ask you, what emotions do you feel?
like I said earlier, it's the feeling of frustration and just being angry. So I'm not in control of what I'm feeling. I'm just reacting to external stimulus that's being thrown at me. So, yeah. And then,
I
does that
have a
answer your question?
I have a yes, and I have another question. Like, or I think it's an insight, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead anyway. Do you think that these emotions that we're feeling is like what you said, whether being reactive and feeling frustrated, do you feel that it's somehow connected to you binge watching and
Yeah, it's because when I feel frustrated, I just want to zone out and numb myself with watching TV shows. It's easier to feel better about and just numb these emotion and feel better at laughing at the sitcom or a show, a TV, a movie. So yeah, in that in that way, I forget the task at hand. I'm not I'm not present. Unlike when before, when you're focused at work, you become productive. So the productivity takes the hit.
and so I think it's becoming a cycle for us because you have these emotions, you're frustrated, you're angry, and then you binge watch because you want to numb yourself, and then you feel angry because you didn't finish the task that you're supposed to do for the day.
Yeah.
And so,
We end up hating ourselves.
and the day ends,
The day ends.
and then it's a daily struggle, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
And so I would like to ask you, how do we break the cycle?
Thank you for listening to the Better Client Project. If you like what you heard, subscribe to our podcast and refer us to a friend. Now back to Porsh and Pat.
This problem is not exclusive to the COVID-19 era. It's a daily struggle we face every day of our lives. Changes in our plan, changes in our schedule. So there's this book we have in our library. It's Power Your Tribe by Christina Comfort. In it, we learned about the power of consent and identifying our emotions. Pat, can you explain to us what power of consent means?
So the power of consent tells us that there are patterns in how we process change. What the power of consent helps us is with accepting change. It doesn't mean it's okay, it is what it is. So there are two ways we deal with change: either we resist it or accept it.
So why do we need to know this?
So we'll know how to move from a resistance mindset to acceptance. The power of consent shows us that we are in control. We are in control of our emotions. It doesn't mean your feelings are not valid. If you're sad, if you want to cry, cry. If you're angry, feel it. But you're able to identify your emotion. And that's how it empowers you or helps you to respond to the situation. And it can help you become more productive, focus, and be emotionally agile, not fragile. When we are aware at the moment that we are resisting, we choose to consent to the change that's happening. And that opens our minds to different possibilities and look at the experience as an opportunity for learning.
I like that. Taking the power back. So, Pat, how do you catch yourself when you're in the process of resisting?
So when I catch myself resisting, so for the example I gave earlier, which is running errands, I found out that feel frustrated because I'm being interrupted in my work zone, or I'm being interrupted with the things that I need to do. And because I was able to identify my emotion and able to process it, I now I accepted that. especially during this COVID situation that the store hours are limited and I really need to run that errand. So what I do is I bring a book so that I'll feel productive when I do my errands. Also, another option is setting a boundary. So for example, you and mama would ask me something, I would tell you guys that I'm doing something, can it be done later today or can it be done tomorrow? Because I'm able to prioritize what's more important. And because I was able to identify that emotion, I was able to come up with new ways to respond to that change, which is the errand. And because of that, I was able to manage my productivity and learn from that experience. How about you?
I noticed how upset I can get with reading the news on on social media, and it's not helping that it's available on my phone, because the phone is within reach, and when I get to my phone, just when I wake up, it sets the tone for the day, and I'm in a reactionary state. So what I do instead is push back that looking at my phone, and until I am emotionally ready to accept bad news. So in a way, I'm managing my energy. So instead of doing that, what I do is I schedule my day, set my intentions for the day, and know what needs to get done first. And then I'm in a good mental state, that's when I look at the phone. I know I can handle it because I notice that this makes me upset. So when I have the time, I can manage the energy. That's when I let myself be exposed to it.
That's a good that's a good that's a good way to handle it, I think. I'll try that.
So being emotionally agile, not fragile, takes practice. How we react is hardwired in our brains all our lives. That is why we struggle daily. If we practice some self awareness and identifying our feelings, and add on some, like you said, mindfulness exercise, we can set and reframe so that we don't let these distractions derail us from the important things that we need to get done. So let the power of consent help you overcome these struggles. When you harness the power of consent, you open yourself up to learning. Thank you for listening to the Better Client Project, a podcast produced by Brand Manila.
Follow us on our socials and we hope to talk to you. Tell us your stories
Ask us for advice.
or give suggestions. We'd like to hear from you.
See
See
you
you
on
on
the
the
next
next episode.